Hi, I'm Deborah Tomasello,
And I'm Brenda Schmidt,
and we
and
want to
we want
get
to get knit-based with,
knit-based with you. We really do, both of
we
us.
really do. And we really aren't already.
Yeah, right. It's coffee because it's early in the morning. So, we are having every conceivable technical issue, but we're going to forge ahead because this is such an important thing we have to talk about. Today's episode is called Getting Seasick in February, so you can see the dire urgency here. We're talking about Mal de Mer, which is the Colorworks by Debbie knit along in Ravelry for the month of February. And for those of you who speak French, you know that Mal de Mer means seasick or seasickness. And for those of you who don't speak French, it just sounds pretty. But it is this pattern that I designed, and the reason it's named Mal de Mer is you will see how the lace undulates and waves, and the colors look like the ocean, and they gradiate out to frothy foam at the edge of the shore. So that was my plan. And it is knit with Bre-Aly Threads. Mine is 4-ply cotton, but Brenda has made kits available in 3-ply or 4-ply. Gauge is about the same, works up about the same, color variations slightly, but both are lovely. Yeah. She's going to talk about the kit in a minute, but talking about the shawl, I will show you that it's small. It's a shawlette, but it doesn't go straight across at the top. I designed it to be 3/4 of a circle so that it stays on the shoulders without falling off. Not a full circle. And you can wear it like I do, sideways or like this. I've worn. We have had to retape this so many times that I've worn this same shirt and this shawl for the last time because we're going through with this regardless. All right, so what you will be using when you make the increases is my Bumpless Make One increase, and that's really not a make one in the traditional sense where you pick up a stitch in the bar between stitches. It's really a modified knit front and back, and I'm going to insert my video tutorial here that I've put on YouTube to show you how to reorient the legs and accomplish this. And what it does is hides that little purl bump so it still looks like stockinette from the front when you want it to. It looks like a purl stitch when you want to do it that way too. And I've written BM1 and BM1P into the instructions. You will need to watch the video when working.
And it's very short. I mean, it was very easy to understand. I looked at it to do a quick swatch, and it was very easy to follow. It's going to take a little bit of practice to get used to the stitch, but I think once you learn the stitch, it's very easy to remember, and you'll be very pleased with the results. It's a very short video.
Yes, short videos are the best. It drives me crazy when people do a 12-minute video to say what they could say in a minute and a half, because I'll never get that 11 minutes back. All right, so the tutorial is going to be here. If I can technologically arrange it or get my husband to technologically, magically put it in for us.
If the technology gods are on our side this time.
And so far they haven't been. We don't know what we've done to displease them, but we're ready to sacrifice a small child or an animal. Not really. Well, a little. All right.
Normally, when you increase a stitch by KFB, knit front and back, you knit in the front of the stitch, and then before taking the rest of the loop off, you knit again in the back of the stitch. This works well, but you end up with a little bump in the front of the work that looks like a purl bump. There's a way to increase a stitch, knit one, make one, without having that bump in the front. It will be in the back, and this is how you do it. You knit one, but rather than knitting in the back, you take the loop that's left on your needle from the row below that you just knitted your stitch in, you move it to the right needle, you pick it up again from top to bottom with your left needle and put it back on the left needle. You simply twisted it. It's reoriented now so that the back leg is in the front and the front leg is in the back. Now, in order to make one, you don't knit in the back of the stitch, you knit again in the front of the stitch. You still have that little bump, but now it's on the back of the work instead of the front, so it looks much smoother. Let me do it again. Knit normally, don't take that loop off the needle, but slip it onto your right hand needle, reorient it, slip it back onto the left needle, knit it in the front rather than the back. I'm going to do it one more time because that was not smooth. Knit in the front, slip that loop onto your right hand needle, don't let it drop, pick it up again, reorient it onto your left hand needle, make your stitch by knitting again in the front, not the back. You have all these make ones and you don't see the little purl bump. It's there, but it's on the back of your work, so it doesn't show from the front. Much smoother, and it's as easy as that. Works great with color work.
All right, so Brenda, talk
Yes.
about the kit.
The kit is available on my Etsy site, and the link will be here. And what that kit will include is a 100-gram ball of my gradient cotton in either your choice of 3-ply or 4-ply. It will also include the pattern, and I will email once I get the order within 24 hours. If I'm on top of it, I will get that PDF version of the pattern over to you along with a code to be able to download it to your Ravelry library. And then there's also the option to order beads for an additional $5, and I've got some
crystal beads on the edge to look like white caps.
Yeah, so there's that suggestion, and I also have some very pretty blue, like opalescent beads that are.
I know they look oil slick, and it's going to look like the Exxon Valdez.
Oh,
up at the top. That was my joke from last time. When you run them the second, third time, they get less funny, even in the delivery. But she was laughing, so I figured she was anticipating it.
No, I saw you doing. So I was
looking for the dark blue. I was looking for the
blue. Okay, so I thought I had something on my shoulders.
No.
Okay.
No, I would.
Anyway, all silliness aside, I have a couple of suggestions for the beads: the crystal ABs, and then I also have some very pretty aqua violet lined ABs that are, if you like a darker bead, they're both beautiful choices. Or you can pick anything from my available inventory. And then you can also customize your colorway for an additional $2. If you're not into blues, if you see it if you'd like to just have more color variety, I can customize that colorway for you just for an additional $2. But
if you do want the colorway that I knitted, it is named the same as the pattern Mal de Mer, yes. But you're not married to it by any means. And tell them how you wind it.
I wind it. You have a choice of having the dark blue on the outside or on the inside as the center pull, and the only difference is which way you want to work the ball. If you like to work from the outside in, and this is with any yarn, not just my yarn. I've worked with my yarn both from the outside and the inside. It works fine as any other, it does with any other yarn. So it's your preference. If you want to start with the light blue and you want to work from the outside, then you want the light blue on the outside. If you like to work from the center pull, then by all means order the one that has the darker blue on the outside. That is the only difference. All of the color lengths and runs are the same.
And
there's no difference.
And the pattern is the same. The only difference is whether you want to pull from the outside or the inside.
Yeah. So that's entirely up to you. It does not change the actual colors in the ball itself.
And then shipping.
And then, yes, and the shipping is free. And that's for domestic shipping. And then I have a discounted rate for my international. It's a flat $7 to anywhere else outside of the U.S. So
great deal. Now, Brenda has been including in her kits, because we've sold a lot of these kits already.
So out of
little pieces of
yes,
cloth, and people have been asking, what's this for? What's this for? Yeah. So she's going to be doing a video, which we will put up probably
soon.
Yeah, it'll be up on YouTube, and then we will link it in the Knit Face group on Ravelry, and probably work it into the next.
Yes, and then also in your kit, I'm including some little stitch markers, and what they are basically are little bulb pins. I don't know if you can see that, but when you get those, that's what those are for. And these are both my personal preferences. You do not have to use either one of these items. They're just thrown in there as a courtesy. They're what I like to use. They leave, the bulb pins don't have a lot of gap. They're great for stitch markers. They unhook, so you can slide them off or add them in at any point.
Brenda. Am I getting some in my next order?
Yes.
Good.
I will send you some.
Good,
And
thank
some
you.
floss.
Good, thank you. Because honestly, I hadn't even thought of it, but the stitch markers were leaving a gap where I found I had to pull it tighter. So that's great that you
Yeah.
anticipated that.
So, and again, they're just little things that I'm throwing in there that are my preference to work with my yarn. So,
Right.
when you get those, I'm not suggesting that you need better dental hygiene, and I will get my video up there as soon as possible so you can see how I use it with my yarn, specifically.
And
But
I'm
it can work
eager to
with
see
any yarn, but
I'm eager to see it because I've used the crochet hook method, and because you're working with unplied cotton, it's tricky to get all 3 strands.
right.
It is a little tiny adjustment using unplied cotton over wool, and I'm saying 3 or 4 stitches and you've got it down. It was very easy, and you'll be hooked. Everyone who's tried it has been hooked. So
Yeah, it seems intimidating once you try it. Once you actually try it, you're wondering why you waited so long to
yeah,
try
it's
it.
great. It's great. And we are working up a bunch of designs so that we can kit not just shawls, but a variety of project types. We'll have socks and mittens and hats and scarves and shawls and baby blankets and what else? Cowl.
Cows,
Head.
and some of those kits are up, and I'll just be adding them over time to
Right.
my
Spacing
FB
them out
site,
so-
and we'll try to let people know when they're up.
Right.
I'm trying to make sure that I've got all the colors that Deborah comes up with 1 or 2 color suggestions for each kit. And so those are offered, and then of course there's always the option to customize, and those are usually in the link, and they vary depending on what I'm offering. Some things are, it's hard to explain. If there's a lot of colors involved, we'll offer probably more than 1 color change, like in the tweeds. I don't know, you can cut this out.
No, I'm not editing. I'm not. Be very careful.
Okay.
I'm not editing because I'm holding my breath.
Okay, but each option, each customization package will vary in cost depending on what we're
Right.
customizing.
Right.
There may not be an upcharge. I may say where if you want to sub out 1 color, then there's no charge to do that. Other times I may say it's $2. $2 is really the maximum. And what I'll do is work with you to come up with a colorway that you like. I'll send pictures so that you can see how they look together. So there's a little bit of extra time involved, and that's where the extra $2 comes in.
But her prices are so very reasonable that it's not.
Deborah, I'm sorry.
What'd you do? Are you crying?
No, my eyes have just like all of a sudden started watering.
That's called crying, Brenda.
No, but I'm not. It's not like there's an emotion behind it. They're just like leaking water.
Well, better your eyes than your nose.
Right.
And while we're off topic, I'm going to introduce a new thing just because I need to vent. And it's going to be pet peeves. I've got a thread in our knit-faced Ravelry group called Pet Peeves, and I have like 6 of them every day, and I can't keep doing this, but I have to unload because I'm going to explode like that blue smoke coming out of the top of people's heads on that commercial. Yeah, poof. All right.
Okay, so what is your pet peeve?
First of all, the
Today.
fact I normally love alliteration, but pet peeves is such a stupid phrase. I'm going to rename it when I think of something. Anything is better. For now, it's pet peeves. Okay, my pet peeve is, and thank you for asking, I do have one. At the end of a conversation, when someone says, "Have a good one." Wait, what? Have a good what? Have a good cry? Have a good nap? Have a good bowel movement? Specificity would be appreciated at that. Really, just that one just bugs me. So that was it. Do you have one, Brenda?
Mine is very minor, and I'm going to throw my boyfriend under the bus. He has a big problem with opening a cabinet in the kitchen and leaving it open. I will have to go in behind him in the kitchen and close 3 or 4 cabinets, and it drives me crazy. And I thought at first that he was doing it just to drive me crazy. Like he'll go open a cabinet and then walk away after he's got what he needs out of it.
It's hard to close them.
And I'll go in and I've quit saying anything about it because it doesn't do any good. And I realized over Thanksgiving when we were with all of his family at his parents' house that his whole family does it.
Wide open. So he comes by
all Thanksgiving I was going through the kitchen and closing
Okay, so now when you go in the kitchen, you don't say anything, but you close the cabinet. You close
So
it loud enough that he gets the message? You are frozen.
Frozen.
Oh, the freezing. There, you're caught up. You froze. Oh, okay. Let's. Ah,
That whole section just froze.
yep. Okay, that's okay. We'll just move on. We just had another technical. Really, we are going to have to sacrifice a small child to.
I mean,
appease
and now your picture's
I'm
blurry
jerky?
on my end.
Okay.
Well, you're not jerky, but now you're pixelated. How's my?
You're fine now. You were pixelated, but all right. I might have to.
Okay, well, just keep going.
Part of this out. All right. So we had recorded the entire episode last week, and the software failed, and we lost the whole thing. So we have 2 interviews today, and because not Tracey, her name is Brenda, and because Brenda also has a full-time job, I had to do the interviews myself separately. So I interviewed our first daring, brave young knitter for the segment, What Was I Drinking? What Was I Thinking When I Knit This Crap? And if you remember last episode, I showed you my hot yellow and orange chrysanthemum sweater. So now I'm going to insert, if the gods of technology and my husband comply, the interview we had with Tracey Prevost. And we thank her for sharing with us and for being
very much, yes.
And she will be in touch with us about what gift she would like for participating.
Great.
I'm starting over. Here we go. So we have our first interview this morning with Tracey Prevost. Did I say it correctly?
Prevost.
Prevost.
Yeah.
V-O-S-O, Ost or Ost?
Ost.
Ost, Prevost.
Yeah.
And she has been a good sport. And if you remember in our pilot episode, I introduced a feature in our podcast that's called What Was I Drinking? What Was I Thinking When I Knit This Crap? And I showed you my great idea for a chrysanthemum sweater, which was hideous. And Tracey volunteered one of her projects that sort of didn't turn out the way she wanted. But let's get to know Tracey a little bit first. She has a very interesting and lovely accent. So, Tracey, where are you from?
I'm from New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Yep.
And she says sweeter instead of sweater. So right. That's how I knew she wasn't native born in the States. Okay. Lots of sheep where you're from?
Yeah, more sheep than people.
More sheep than seriously?
Yep.
Wow. Did you know any personally when you were young? Did you have a sheep farm?
Actually, my aunt and uncle, they had maybe about 5 or 6 sheep, and they would actually shear them. My aunt would keep some of the wool and spin it and dye it herself.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a whole, we have to call knit picks and webs and stuff to get our sheep product. So that's very cool. So you grew up knowing how to knit, probably.
Yeah, I think I was about 9. Either my mother or my grandmother taught me. I really don't even remember anymore.
So then you are an accomplished knitter, and I know you said you've knitted sweaters, and there's really no explanation for what you're about to show us. So why don't you tell us about your snowmobile mitts?
Okay, these are, there's a pattern from Knit Picks called snowblowing mitts, and they're felted, and they just did not come out the way.
Honestly, I think E.T., when I think of those, like they would fit the E.T. guy. What happened with that thing? It almost looks obscene.
It does. It looks like they're flipping the bird. When I took the photo for the Knit Picks thread, I thought, my goodness, people are going to think I'm being obscene here. These were actually made as a Christmas present for my poor husband. He was such a good sport about it. I did make him a scarf as well, so here's proof that I can knit normally.
Plus the sweater you're wearing.
So yeah, he got the scarf as well, which is fine. That's not felted.
And I know you had said he won't let you throw away the snowmobile mitts.
He wants to keep them. I actually had an offer for someone to buy them, and I asked him, and he said, no, I want to keep them. So I said, okay. I wouldn't have felt bad if he'd said yes. I really wouldn't.
Although I'm glad you hung on to them because they are really good. I saw the picture of those. I said, that has got to be on the What Was I Thinking? When you got to doing the finger, did you just get started and couldn't stop?
I was following the pattern, and it said that was just what it said to do, make them so long. think I was measuring in inches, and I'd never felt it before, so I thought, oh, it'll shrink down. It's supposed to be this way, and well, they shrunk down some, but yeah, the index finger just stayed long.
You could fix them, but I think I probably wouldn't change them. I would hang on to them.
Yeah. Well, they're a little tight for my husband anyway. This finger is quite narrow right here.
So it's felted this way instead of this way.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if I had made them a good inch or so shorter, I think they would have come out just fine.
Right.
I think they're just too big for him in general anyway. So.
But he wants to keep them because they were made with love. That's great.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
You're a real good sport. So what do you do, Tracey, when you're not knitting?
I'm a stay-at-home mom. So my youngest is 3, so pretty busy with him right now, and we have his 2 older sisters as well. So in between that, I'm taking them to lessons, and that's actually a good time for knitting, I've found.
Right. Oh, right.
So yeah, that helps fill in the time while I'm waiting for whatever lesson's going on.
Show us what you're wearing, the pretty blue.
Okay, this is...
it is a sweater. I thought maybe it was very pretty.
This is a pattern from Webb's yarn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember what it's called. I made this just this year, actually. It is actually lovely and cozy. It's
very pretty.
It's a bulky yarn, and we live in Vermont now, and so yeah, I made this with this move in mind. It's actually one of the warmest things I own.
Because you're not used to the cold here in the Northeast.
No, we were in Ohio before
well,
we came here. It gets cold, not as cold as here though.
You do get winters there.
Yeah. They have more snow where we moved from though right now than we do right now. The winter storm, I don't know if you've been affected.
We were. Not as badly as some. I know DC got 2
They got hammered,
and
yeah.
the city, New York City, and I am a little bit north of New York City, and they got about twice as much as we did. So we were just on the edge and really lucked out. You can actually see some of the grass already today. Wow. So we're in good shape. In time for the next one because it's still January. We have winter to go. Okay, Tracey, I'm going to keep this short because we are having such difficulties getting this whole thing produced. I want to make sure that the video takes, so we'll keep it short. Thank you so much for being a good sport, and no Tracey for volunteering to show us her great knits. Wins a gift of her choice of either any of my ebooks or one of Bre-Aly Threads unplied cotton, gradient, solid, whatever Tracey decides, and she will PM me and let me know that. And that holds true for anybody who wants to share their what was I drinking, what was I thinking when I knit this crap project. So thank you, Tracey, for being the first. Thank you for being a good sport. Coming back. Okay. We'll see you on Ravelry.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay. Now, that was a great interview.
It was. I laughed so hard when I saw those. It was just.
They were
why?
And so anybody who wants to submit their ugly finished object that was so ugly they couldn't throw it away, please let us interview you, send us pictures, let us know that you're out there with your ugly, and you'll get a gift of either one of my ebooks or one of Bre-Aly Threads 100-gram ball of gradient cotton. Our next spotlight interview is with Amy Lamash, who is a designer, knitter, a podcaster, and she has her own Ravelry group, Hudson Valley Knits. I've known Amy for several years. We both were looking for some Jamieson and Smith fingering weight wool to do some Alice Starmore stranding sweaters, and we found out we lived near each other, and we've known each other in close local knitting groups. So I'm going to cut away to that interview, and we'll sit in here.
Jeopardy music.
Dun, dun. And here's Amy. And here's Amy Lamash. Hi, Amy.
Hello.
Amy works full-time, and she still finds time to knit, design, podcast, run a group on Ravelry. So I do all that minus working full-time. So I already explained to you how Amy and I met, and we just sort of have followed similar paths accidentally. I didn't plan to go into designing, and I don't think you did either, did you?
No.
It just happened.
No, it just happened.
So tell us about, you don't have a ton of designs, but tell us about the first one and how it started.
Well, it started with my mom making a special request for something. So my mom lives in upstate New York, and it's very cold up there, and she's a very active, outdoorsy woman, and wanted something to keep her neck warm. So I thought a nice cowl. And because she's my mom, I chose a luxurious cashmere. And I just knit a cowl with some nice buttons and whatever. And she didn't like it because it kept drooping on her neck. And then she described to me what she wanted. All the features. She wanted it high in the back. She wanted to cover her chest. All these different things. So I just took what she wanted and I made something.
Let's see it.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
No, this isn't it.
Oh, no, but you don't have it with you?
Oh, I have it in my drawer here. Hold on. It is called
Yeah, that's it.
the Urban Village Cowl. And I just made like a short scarf and I put a collar on it with short rows so it would stand up on her neck. And she loved it. So this is obviously another copy of it. She has the original.
And it buttons.
Yeah, the buttons are on the bottom. So,
Yep.
this is buttons. And she loves it, and I decided to write it up. It fits really nicely under your long coat, and the collar lays nicely, and it keeps her chest warm. And I put a nice stitch pattern in there for texture.
Is it worsted weight?
This is worsted weight, yes.
Very pretty. And those are definitely your colors. You definitely like the autumnal colors, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I like colors from nature.
And the walls of your bedroom?
Are
Same
green.
color of my guest room wall.
Yeah.
Okay, now the one I am really smitten with is the one you are wearing.
Yeah.
So tell us about it and how you named it.
Well, this is called the Guardian of Air Shawl. And what happened was I got a whole bunch of art yarn on sale, which is...
The best way to get it.
Yes. The only way to get it, really. Let's see if I can find where that is. Oh. Now, I wasn't into writing up patterns at this point, but I did have in mind what I wanted. I wanted to use all the colors I got. And I wanted to use some lace, but I didn't want it all to be lace. I wanted some of it to be cozy garter stitch. So I just started knitting, and I stuck a lace panel in the middle, and then I fudged it so it would work in the ends, and I put some lace faggoting, and there I had it. And I thought it was wintry, and the sparkles remind me of icicles, and so I called it the Guardian of Air Shawl. And so many people, including Iris from Art Yarns, who saw it at a trunk show I was wearing it, said I should write it up. So I did. And I published it using Twin Canyon Fingering by Denise from Lost City Knits. And
I love this. Somebody that goes to your local knitting group, who also comes from our local knitting group, was working on it. And I said, what is that? And she said, Guardian Bear by Amy Lamash. I said, I know her. Beautiful.
Yeah, I love this. This is my favorite pattern, too.
I love the size of it. And I love that you said I fudged it, because that's mostly what we do when we design.
When I designed, I had to mathematically make everything work and make it symmetrical, and it was a lot of work. I so appreciate
Me too.
all the work that goes into designing
Me
it.
too.
It's a lot of work, and it's expensive.
Yes, it is.
To buy
And there are 40,000 at least designers on Ravelry now, and a lot of them give their patterns away for free. I'm thinking because they only have one, and they have other sources of income.
Sometimes it's simple, and they don't bother
to mess with taxes and keep right. But then, because there are so many free patterns, you get people say, how can you charge $5 for a shawl pattern? Well, because I spent 90 hours designing it, another 45 hours knitting it up, another X amount of dollars and time having it tech edited and publishing. It is a lot of work. We obviously are not in this for the money.
No.
We are in this for the love of it.
I don't think I've even broke even with my sales. And I have given a lot away on promotional things and stuff like that.
Yeah, I do too. I do it, I cover my expenses, and that's basically what I do.
Okay.
Obviously not a source of income.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to keep this short this time. We had a really nice lengthy chat that you all missed last time because the software failed, but
Yes.
we
Well, we
still
had
want,
fun.
we did have fun, and we'll have Amy back once we get the bugs ironed out. But we wanted to do this again and get it up because Amy has generously offered anybody who sees this interview or knows Amy's podcast or is familiar with her designs, member of her Ravelry group, whatever, go in the Knit-Faced podcast group on Ravelry and look for the thread that talks about Hudson Valley Knits with Amy Lamash and make a comment, and you will be automatically put into a pool through all of February. We will have a random drawing, that's easy for me to say, on March 1st, and the winner will get one of Amy's patterns.
Whichever one you like. Tell me in the comments which one's your favorite and why.
Say which
great.
favorites are and what you like about them.
Yeah.
I love this shawl. I love it because I love it. And then when I heard the name of it, I said, oh, I like that. I like it even more now because I like the name of it. Naming things is part of the fun too.
Yeah, I named mine after tarot cards.
Right.
So, yeah.
And do you get attached to yours? Do you get attached to your items? When I finish designing a hat and I've knitted it 3 times to make it right, and then I go to a show and somebody wants to buy it, I feel like I'm giving away a puppy.
Oh, I don't sell knitted items. So, and I keep most of my stuff that I design. Yeah, I keep them. My apartment is only so big that I do every now and then do a show just to move things out so that I can buy more yarn and start over. But it is hard to let them go. Yeah, I'm kind of overwhelmed with yarn too.
What a horrible, horrible plight.
It's terrible, but you know.
I don't mind being overwhelmed with yarn. It's being overwhelmed with projects that I've knitted. I think I had 400 hats last year, and I just had to move them out so that I can
Sell them on Etsy. You could always make another one.
Yeah, and I rarely go back and knit the same thing twice, which explains the drawer full of single socks.
Oh!
I'm not kidding. My stepdaughter doesn't mind wearing unmatched socks, so I have an outlet for those too. But okay, Amy, thank you so much for coming back and doing this again.
Yeah. All right, take care.
See you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, that was great. Thank you so much, Amy. And
Thank you.
she has generously offered to give away to the winner of a drawing, which I'm about to tell you about. I have no idea how messed up that wording got, but I'm going to start over. We are going to open a thread in the Knit-Faced Ravelry group, and it's going to be for all of you who see this podcast, who watched Amy's interview, who are familiar with her designs or familiar with her podcast and have something favorable to say about it. Comment in that thread. You will automatically be entered into a drawing, and March 1st, we will draw the winner. And Amy has generously offered any one of her designs, patterns, to the winner. And we will announce that in the next podcast.
Free stuff. Yay.
Yeah, we love prizes. We love it. All right, so we're going to keep this relatively short because we just don't want to test fate or tempt.
And because we've done it for the 3rd time and we're over it.
Yeah, and it's really much funnier when it's ad-lib. And when you ad-lib for the 4th time, it just is less funny. We sort of tend to leave out punchlines because we know what they are already.
Yeah.
I also envision this becoming more interactive, and once we get the bugs worked out with the technological part of it, I will keep my Skype list here, and if I see somebody on when we're recording, I'm going to call you, and you might just get the camera.
Suddenly our Skype list goes blank.
Right. Okay.
Oh, well.
So,
All right.
are we all set?
We're all set.
Brenda's finished crying.
It was such an emotional time for me, Deborah. Thank you for being there for me.
Thank you. And it's going to get better and better each month. All right. Thank you all. We'll see you in the group. Join the group. Bye.
Bye.